Welcome back. Scaffolding is a term that is thrown around a lot. Proper scaffolding is a great instructional technique. But what does it mean? Let's take a closer look at what scaffolding actually is. Let's get right to it. All right, so we're going to jump right into scaffolding and education. So we're going to have an overview, look at the zone of proximal development, purpose, benefits, look at some strategies, some grade level and content level examples, and then our keys to remember. So we're giving this overview. We're not going to go into, the details. We're going to give this overview so that teachers have an understanding or viewers have an understanding of what this concept is and how it can be utilized. So what is it? We hear it a lot, scaffolding. So what is it? It's an instructional technique where teachers provide temporary support. So you think of a building, they put the scaffold up when they're, building, a structure to ensure that while they're building, the structure doesn't fall apart, right? So the same thing in the classroom, you're providing that temporary support to get students from where they are to where you want them to be, so without them falling apart. Productive struggle is good, but even in that, think about training wheels on a bike. You have the training wheels, so they're learning to balance themselves, but they have support around them. It helps students learn new concepts step by step. So instead of just immersing them in the concept, you're going to take it a little bit at a time. It supports gradually removed. Support is gradually removed as students gain independence. So as they become more fluent and more capable within the concept, you remove those supports, and then ultimately think about that training wheel example. They realize, oh, I'm riding by myself. I've taken the training wheels off. Nobody's holding me. I can do this on my own, right? And this based on Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. So basically, what can the students do with support? What can they do on their own? What can they do with support? And what can they not do independently? So you want to be in the middle, and we're going to get into that a little bit more right here. ZPD, the zone of proximal development. It's the gap between what students can do independently and what they can do with guidance, right? So you're trying to get them to that independent stage, but they may need support in order to get to that end result. So it's effective teaching occurs inside that zone of proximal development, the things the learner can do with help. So you're guiding them and supporting them in learning the concept or skill, and then the ultimate goal is that they become independent with it. Scaffolding provides the temporary support students need to succeed, and as competence increases, support is gradually removed. So it's a complex term that just means provide temporary support until the student can do it on their own. So effective scaffolding empowers students to move from dependence to independence while mastering challenging concepts. So some of the purposes: it helps students access complex material, it builds student confidence, promotes independent learning, and bridges the gap between prior knowledge and new learning. Some of the benefits: it improves comprehension and retention, builds critical thinking skills, supports diverse learning needs, encourages active participation, and increases student engagement. So just by scaffolding, look at all the differentiation that can occur just by using the strategy of scaffolding in your lesson, right? You can address individual students' needs. You can address fostering that independence. You can address increasing student engagement because they don't feel overwhelmed. They know you're right there to support them. And slowly but surely, before they realize it, they'll be able to do it on their own. So some strategies for implementation: you have modeling. You demonstrate the task before students try it, right? Think alouds. You speak through the process of solving the problem. You let them hear your process. You can do guided practice, walking them through problems together. You can chunk it. We talked about that, step by step. Break lessons into smaller steps. Instead of just saying we're going to do all of this in one day, you know what? We're going to take step 1 and 2 today. We'll master that. Boom. And then we can go to steps 3 and 4 later. And then you definitely want to use visual supports, graphic organizers, charts, and diagrams. These are based on your specific students as to which types of graphic organizers, charts, and diagrams you utilize. So some additional strategies: you can use sentence starters and writing frames, question prompts, peer collaboration, gradual release. This is something that is popular today. I do, we do, you do. But as I mentioned in a previous video, you want to mix it up. Okay, don't remain stagnant with that. All right, and then use of exemplars and rubrics. Show them the end goal, right? Show them examples of the end goal so they can get an idea of, oh, okay, this is where we're trying to go, versus we're going to do this. Well, what does it look like? You'll see when we finish. That can be frustrating. So some elementary examples. So we're going to break this down by grade levels. Some elementary examples that you can utilize. Seesaw has an interactive learning portfolios. ABC Mouse has structured step-by-step literacy and math. Kahoot, you can do guided review through games. You can also pre-teach vocabulary, introduce the words with photos or student interests or known context, and even show and tell, both in the traditional sense, and you model the skills, behaviors, and approaches that you want students to demonstrate, and you allow students to share their prior knowledge in order to build upon it. So some other elementary school scaffolding. So in reading, you can use pictures, picture walks, and guided reading questions. We talked about sentence frames and word banks. In math, you can use manipulatives such as blocks or number lines. The teacher is modeling before students practice, and then you can use think, pair, share to support understanding. So pulling on that prior knowledge, allowing a risk-free environment for students to contemplate the new concept and share out. Middle school, we have Nearpod, Padlet. We can pull on prior knowledge, and we can also use ed puzzles. So you can use, for middle school, you can use guided notes during lectures, graphic organizers, step-by-step problem-solving guides in math, collaborative group learning, and teacher questioning to guide deeper thinking. So these are not isolated to middle school, but we're talking about the cognitive abilities of some of the students. So you can mix and match. You don't have to say, oh, these are just for middle schoolers. No, but middle schoolers tend to respond better to these concepts. And high school. So some examples: Khan Academy, great free resource; Peer Deck, Canva, and classroom discussions. Some additional or more specific examples: you have research templates and project outlines. It's easier to give that to, the older students and let them use their prior knowledge to expand on the new concept. Socratic seminars, preparation questions, modeling analytical writing before assignments, gradual release of responsibility for complex tasks, and they can also do peer review with structured rubrics. So a math example of scaffolding. So we'll go in this direction. So a math example for solving multi-step equations, right? The teacher models solving one equation. They use visuals, visual step chart for operation orders. Then students solve guided problems with the teacher. They can use color coding for each step of the equation, and then gradually move students to independent practice, right? So this is kind of that I do, we do, you do model. That's for solving equations. Let's say we're writing a persuasive essay. Teacher can provide a model paragraph, use sentence starters. Then they can go to graphic organizers for to show claims and evidence, guided writing with teacher feedback. Then the student eventually writes independently. Then you evaluate, adjust, and repeat the process. A science example: begin with a visual diagram of the water cycle. Teacher explains each stage step by step. Students label the diagram, have a small group discussion, and then the individual students can explain independently or create their own diagram to demonstrate their understanding of the concept. So all these content specific examples are just, some of the ways that you could break down scaffolding for your individual lessons. So some things to remember: start with strong modeling. You as the teacher, show them what the skill looks like, the concept looks like, show them exactly where it is you're trying to get them to go. Build on what they already know. Don't assume they know nothing. Introduce the topic in a way that pulls on their prior knowledge. Provide structured support early. Don't just throw them out there and say, "Oh, figure it out." No, give them that support, and then eventually you can let them be independent. Gradually release the responsibility to students, and then adjust scaffolds based on student needs. So again, no matter what, you still have to consider the independent and specific needs of your actual students, even when it comes to scaffolding, because the different types of scaffolding that may be needed, you may need to be a little more hands-on because your students don't have as much prior knowledge or understanding of the concept. Cool. Some cases you may have partial, guidance, and then it's immediate practice, independent practice, simply because those kids have more, prior knowledge or skills to build on. We hope that was helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.